Hello, everybody, and welcome to Q&ARANTINE episode number 1A. This is the reborn pilot, now that it is outside the wonderful world of Opus. This graphic serves to show that we are officially in a new place. I'm going to put my face up here on the screen in a second. Before I do, just letting everybody know, first of all, how this is going to work. So I encourage you to be on camera if you are on. You don't have to be if you're my mom, for example, but it is encouraged. Feel free to use the chat to ask questions, or you can interrupt if it's pressing. That is one of the best parts about this being interactive, is that you can talk to the guests. Please keep your microphone muted if you are not speaking. That way, if you have any children that are shrieking in the background, they are only interrupting your day and not ours. Spread the word. So I'm going to be doing these a lot. We have 100 people that can fit into any session, so feel free to send these along to anybody who you think might be interested. I think that it will continue to grow. And then after we're done, each episode will be uploaded to YouTube. bit.ly.com/quarantine YouTube is the brand new YouTube channel there will be. So let's meet our guest for today. The guest is a very good friend of mine, a very photogenic, this is a great photo, by the way, Anne-Marie.
It's a little outdated, but.
But who knows? So our guest is Anne-Marie Sketch. Anne-Marie has been a dear friend of mine for a very, very long time. Well, first you were a friend-ish, and then you were a dear friend, and now you're one of my best friends. So Anne-Marie Sketch, say hello to everybody, Anne-Marie.
Hi, everyone.
So Anne-Marie, tell us a little bit about yourself. First of all, how do we know each other?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. So I think I first met Curtis when I was in high school. I was, for those of you that know Curtis, probably also know about DECA and career and technical student organizations. And I was a member of DECA back in high school and was a state officer, and met Curtis as he was an officer coach and working with the organizations. And then I went on to serve as a leadership coach for an organization that Curtis was in charge of at the time. And so we worked together for several years after that, I think. But that was really, I think, the time where we went through a lot of stressful events and things with managing the students and the organization. And I think that's how we got to be friends. And then that's been 7 or 8 years probably. And here we are. Yeah. And Curtis is a dear friend of, dear friend of mine, and has put up with my awkwardness, and
I think I was the first person to tell you were awkward.
I think so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was.
And I finally have owned it, or I've just outgrown the awkwardness. I don't know.
I don't know about outgrown. We'll see. We'll see by the end of this. My camera feels like it's flickering like crazy right now. Hi, Lisa. Lisa joined, and her kids are in the background. I'm gonna mute you, Lisa. Just that lovely children noise. So Anne-Marie, and actually, you and I, Anne-Marie, when we first met, were. I was really mean to you, apparently, right?
You were.
What were some of the things I said to you that I don't recall saying, but you said?
Granted, there was just a lot going on at the time, but I think it was right when I started coaching, and we had finished up a coaching session with the students, and somehow it got on the topic of friends and hanging out or something, and you did specifically tell me that I would never be your friend. So
because I was a jerk.
You were a jerk back then.
Yeah,
I mean, you were a young 20-something male, and that's
a jerk, and you put up with it anyway, which speaks to the sainthood of Anne-Marie.
I kind of had to. It was my job, but I'm glad we worked through it.
You've never put it that way before, but I guess that is true. It really wasn't. It wasn't any of my redeeming characteristics. So what do you do now? Where are you working? Where are you living? Where are you living in quarantine these days?
Oh, yes, quarantine. I live in Tualatin, so just a little bit southwest of Portland. And I just recently was hired as a consultant for North Highland Consulting, and I'm on site at Nike. So that's been kind of an exciting exciting transition. I've owned businesses previously and was just looking for a change of pace and career. Most recently, I managed Portland Fashion and Style Awards. So that's an organization that's been around for about 8 years here in Portland that really tries to bring together the fashion and small business industry here in Portland and puts on an award show. Although this year, due to coronavirus, they're not able to put on a show. But yeah, so I kind of wrapped that up last winter and then started this gig with Nike. And that's been fun. It's been interesting to be transitioning alongside everything going on with coronavirus right now. And I used to work remotely, so worked with Curtis for a number of years, and we worked remotely. And at the time, I liked it and I got a lot done, but it's hard going back to that world. I'm finding. I live on my own, so I don't really have any distractions.
With the cats, with the 12 cats.
I don't have any cats. I'm so sorry for those of you that were hoping to be introduced to my alleged 12 cats. Somewhere along the lines when I was back working at with Curtis, somewhere, I don't know if it was just because I was a young single woman and the stereotype is that they often have cats, but someone thought I had a lot of cats and I do not. I don't have anything against cats, I just don't have any.
Yeah, why do you hate cats, Anne-Marie?
I don't hate cats. Some people say this would be a good time to get a pet, but so far I've
crazy. I've seen at least 3 people get dogs during the
I've heard fostering is up. I think even Portland Trailblazer CJ McCollum's fostering a dog.
Hey, speaking of the Portland Trailblazers, you share a wall with the Portland Trailblazers.
I have some bad news. I did. He moved. He got big time and moved out of the apartment.
Who was it?
My neighbor for about 8 months was Nasir Little. He's the rookie, one of the top picks for the Blazers. Zach Collins also lives in my complex, so he has not moved out.
Okay, so you and CJ are still hanging out during quarantine.
No.
Okay. No. And you're an entrepreneur too. You you want to talk a little bit about you setting the world on fire with shoe inserts?
Yeah, absolutely. It's what I like to do most. So yes, I have a business actually with my mom. We started a business called Heal the Sole. It's a shoe insert for the back heel part of your shoe. We are rebranding right now. So this is kind of the original packaging, if you will, but here's our product. And it's actually a patented product. So we invented this and got the patent on it about 3 years ago. It was a 5-year process. If anybody has questions about patents, ask me. I know all about it. But it's just a very simple, innovative design. And you just peel off the very strong adhesive on the back, and then you place it in the back heel part of your shoe. So if you have shoes like high heels that might dig into the back of your heel and cause blisters, maybe you have some flats that are a little bit too big, you can use Heal the Sole to add some additional comfort. And for those guys on the call that are wondering where they can buy a male version of Heal the Sole,
Bruce is on pins and needles waiting to hear the answer to this, please.
They are coming to a website near you this spring. So we, in doing the repackage and everything, we also developed a package for a men's line. So we'll be coming out with that. And we're using a little bit of the downtime that coronavirus has, I think, placed upon everyone to ramp up Heal the Sole. And we're really excited about that.
And today's episode is brought to you by our first, as Krista said, our first official sponsor, Heal the Sole.
Yes.
Anne-Marie will be sending me a check for appearing on our show today. She didn't know that until right now, but Krista, I really appreciate you chiming in with that. That is, with the exposure you're going to get here, you're going to have the money rolling in, though. I'm sure that that's the case.
I think so. Yeah.
And Anne-Marie, show us your quarantine setup right now. Show us where are you stuck? Just pick up the computer and spin it around.
Yeah, I'm sitting kind of in between my. Let's see. This is my home office, so I've kind of been adding things every day. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, we can see that. Yeah.
Well. And then I'm sitting at my kitchen counter. So I think this area is supposed to be like a dining room, but many years ago turned it into a home office and kept it up, which now I'm glad I did.
And later a cat nursery.
Yes.
What's keeping you entertained these days? You're an extrovert, so you love being around people, and you are a single person living in quarantine, so you are getting
Yes.
the opposite of that right now. What are you doing to
Yeah.
stave off the madness and keep yourself entertained?
Yeah, I'm for many years I was just on the go with my jobs and always at events and things. And so in some ways it's been really challenging to not be on the go so much, and to not have my planner kind of calendar planned out to the minute. But I'm also just kind of giving into not having control over everything and having pockets of downtime to work on projects. I've always wanted to put some like drape valances above my windows, and so I'm trying to work on that and just do things that I never have gotten to, and
A
work on
dra
Kill the Soul.
a drape valance?
Well, I guess it's a valance. I should back up. It's not like full
Oh, no, no,
drapes.
no.
It's
I
just
wasn't
the
confused because you said drape and valance. I don't know what either of those words mean.
oh,
Like, what,
okay.
what is a drape valance?
So above a window, some people have drapes, and then you
Yeah.
have like a fabric, shorter fabric, essentially.
I'm gonna nod my
That's a
head, but
valance.
for the sake of
Yeah.
continuing, yeah, okay.
Anybody?
Yes.
I
And then
would
what's a
show you. I don't
valance?
have them done. So the valance is like the part that goes across the whole window. And then the drapes, some you can add drapes, and those go all the way down to the floor. This is just like the top portion.
By the way,
This
Chris,
is
everybody
Finishing.
knows what a valance is.
Everybody does? Am I the only person on this call who doesn't know what a valance is?
I don't know what it is.
Thank you, Chris. Chris, okay, today's episode brought to you by Chris, who's my hero. Steven, did you know what a valance was before it was being described?
I did, yeah.
Steven, get off my call. All right, so we're gonna move on before I feel even dumber. What's your guilty pleasure during quarantine? What do you everybody's doing their thing that like my thing that I've been doing, and I got laid off last week, so this has even been more enjoyable, but I've been having a beer with lunch every day, and it's been feeling great. Today's episode brought to you by 10 Barrel Pub Beer. It's cheap and classy, and it'll get you drunk. So not that I'm drunk. I'm half a beer drunk, but I still wouldn't know what a valance was. What's your guilty pleasure? What's your thing that you're indulging in?
I think snacks. Being close to my
Be
kitchen.
more specific. Let's go.
Chips. I've been eating a lot of chips. Not like an outrageous amount, but more than I normally would.
Okay, and hold on, what's your go-to chip?
Pretty much like any Kettle chip, like the Kettle brand chips. Those are probably my favorite.
But like you only get one Kettle brand chip. Which flavor do you go?
Or
do you have the menagerie of chips and it's like a all you can chip sort of adventure?
No, I typically will just do I really like their New York cheese something.
New York cheddar?
Yeah, the New York cheddar. There you go. Yeah, I don't have any at the moment, but that's probably.
I don't know crap about drapes, but I know lots about potato chips. So this is much more in my wheelhouse. Do you have a brand of Kettle chips that you won't touch? Is there a flavor that you
No,
won't?
I mean I'm not a real chip connoisseur really, but I feel like the quarantine has brought it out in me.
Don't downplay your chip finesse here. I think I would consider you a chip connoisseur. What else besides chips? What else are you? What's your other snack?
I'm catching up on some reading. So this is an all the time guilty pleasure or character flaw. I don't know, but for as long as I can remember, I've always gone to the library and get just like a giant stack of books. I never can read through my giant stack of books. So of course, when I learned that the libraries were closing, the first thing I did was go to the library and get as many books as I could. So now I'm just trying to read through my stack of books.
So Anne-Marie, I asked you to reveal like your character flaw that you just said is that you go to the library and you check out books. That's your guilty pleasure. That's the character.
It's an abundance of books. Like I'm never going to I've been doing this I can never get through that many books. I read a lot, but I still cannot ever get through.
Nonfiction, fiction, romance novels, like what coffee table
no
books?
No romance novels. A little bit of nonfiction, couple fiction.
Do you
books
have a
right
book
now.
recommendation
Yeah.
for anybody so far that you've read?
I have a couple. Yeah. Educated is very good. The author is escaping me at the moment. I also recently read Know My Name by Chanel Miller. It's a hard book to read, but it's excellent. Highly recommend.
Krista does. Krista in the chat says, "You're a book hoarder, then. That's your character flaw, but at least it's not toilet paper." Although, in a pinch, if if things keep going downhill, I'm just
The library
saying.
will not be happy with you, though. So just don't plan on returning them.
Yeah, please don't return them if it reaches that point. I don't think anybody wants them back. Well, I'll ask you just one more question. What is your what is keeping you happy these days? Like what thought in your head is, or what are you concentrating on to try to buoy your spirits during this incredibly weird time that we're all living in?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I'm also just keeping in touch with friends quite a bit and connecting with folks that I may not normally connect with. So I have a lot of friends from college. I went to school in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and I've only been back twice. So I graduated almost 6 years ago. So it's a good time to reconnect with friends and family, and just really trying to stay connected with people.
That's awesome. And what are you, this is a question I'll ask to everybody. Everybody, if you want to put your answers in the chat, but I'll have Anne-Marie answer. What are you grateful for? What are you thankful for in the midst of all of this uncertainty and chaos?
Yeah, I'm grateful for my friends and family and staying so positive. You know, a lot of people I know, and you included, of course, Curtis, have been laid off, and I know that it's just so much uncertainty right now, and that I can continue to just find positive moments, I think is really a blessing.
For sure. Yeah, it's just so everybody knows on that note, I am planning to be doing these Q&ARANTINE things as far as we can, as long as we are in quarantine, I will be doing them. I'm still determining the exact cadence of how often they'll happen, but I am planning on doing them for exactly the reason that you said. I think that it's a really, really weird time, but there's also a lot of potential. I don't know about everybody else, but walking outside right now, it just like everybody, I see more people out on their lawns and out on their porches and out working I saw Alyssa and I went on a walk yesterday, and we saw this family with a little girl with a kite that she was flying behind her bike, which is just like something out of a movie of like, this is America. But it was like really, really cool. And I think that there is a lot to be grateful for if we look for it. So I really, really appreciate you saying that. Alyssa said grateful for warm weather and sunshine. Chris said that he is grateful that they restocked their one Costco pack of toilet paper right before this all started. Stephen Perkins is grateful to be working still. So we've got a lot of a lot of things that people are grateful for. I'm grateful to all of you for taking part of your weird day, or out of your day to be part of this weird thing. Bruce says he's grateful for how Oregonians have responded to stay-at-home orders, and we're doing way better than the rest of the country. Heck yes, introverts unite. Although I will say, as my future father-in-law, I've been offering to get them groceries. I've been offering to get Alyssa's parents groceries, and Bruce will just escape without Wendy, his wife, even knowing, and will go to the grocery store against advice. So if you want to harass him about that, please do. Seattle freeze is so far working out well for everybody, says Krista. I just want to finish real quick before we do this, though. I do want to do a gallery view. Let's give a round of applause for Anne-Marie for being on today, being the first guest. We will continue growing this. And then before we do, just a few final wrap-up notes. We'll be doing the next one of these on Thursday. I'm going to try doing it at 5 o'clock, so a little later in the day. So Thursday at 5 o'clock will be the next one. It's going to be the same link, bit.ly.com/quarantine talk to join. We are also on YouTube at bit.ly.com/quarantine YouTube. So if you want to go back and watch the videos and see your sparkling, shiny faces. Finally, just mentioning that if you feel so inclined and would like to kick in a few bucks on Venmo to cover the cost of Zoom or the cost of my ever-growing drinking habit. That's a joke, Alyssa. I don't have one of those. Please feel free to kick it in Curtis-Haley on Venmo. Thank you so much for everybody for joining. I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon, and we will see you on Thursday at 5 o'clock. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Curtis. Kimmy.